Hi, this is Pamela Wirth with the Hello.Health Encourage Your Wellness podcast. And today I have Liza Blas. She has served as the host of Very Happy Stories, a podcast dedicated to helping mothers navigate the complex path of healing their children from Lyme disease and PANDAS. And before entering the wellness and advocacy space, Liza was a commercial real estate broker in Chicago. Welcome.
Thank you so much. Thanks for having me, Pamela.
So this is very near and dear to my heart because my kiddo was misdiagnosed with autism, but in the end of the day ended up having PANDAS. And so would love to just kind of learn more about your journey and how you've helped people through understanding what's potentially a real diagnosis, a misdiagnosis, potential next steps. What do you do? What do you not do?
Yeah, sure. Yeah, it is. It's super complex, right? And so many things overlap. So it's interesting. We did not even come to having a diagnosis of autism until my daughter was maybe like second year of high school. We really kind of fell down the rabbit hole of chronic illness and psychiatric conditions. And we're kind of, sinking and, drowning in all of that. And it wasn't until later, actually, it was my daughter who kind of kept pushing me, like, I need you to evaluate me for autism. Because she was reading a lot, at her age, super bright girl, still kind of not buying into all of the diagnoses that she had received over the years. And for her, it was really something that she wanted to explore. I had actually done a full neuropsych exam for her, maybe like in seventh grade or eighth grade, and it didn't come up as autism. So it was something that she was diagnosed with kind of like later as she had matured.
Yeah, and I think that's the tricky part too, is PANDAS really speaks to more of an underlying medical cause, whereas autism, you tend to think more neuro. And so how have you helped kind of people navigate in terms of when to test for medical underlying causes versus mental
Yeah.
I think it's fairly new for parents to think about bridging the gap that the two might be intertwined. They might not be.
Yeah. Yeah. Gosh, that's such a great question. I feel like where we are now, my daughter's, almost 20 years old. And then my son, who also had a lot of neurodivergent issues, is now 17. Throughout seeing the journey now, I really think it's all medical. I think that these behavior issues, emotional dysregulation, nervous system, gut issues, anxiety, depression, intrusive thoughts, rumination. I actually think it all for us stemmed from medical conditions. So that's kind of, as you peel all the onion layers back, I really think that at the root, it is all medical. And then it just kind of branches out, into all these other pockets. And then it's one integrated thing, all wrapped up like this. But I think at the start, it is all medical. I don't know. What are your thoughts there?
I totally agree, which is why I've helped people understand that, and it's so much cheaper now than it was, 10, 15 years ago.
Yeah.
But taking a look at doing testing for food sensitivities, the presence of any viral infections, bacterial infections, fungal infections, Lyme is a huge underlying factor in so many people. And then also taking a look at nutrition and potentially MTHFR and some of the things that can happen there. So it's just, and really taking a look at what is inflammation and what could potentially be causing inflammation in your system. And it's like that onion, how much can you really unravel to find it in stages, because you can't just do it overnight. You can't do it all at the same time. It's just, it's mind boggling. And so that's why I encourage people to test as much as they can for what might be causing what's going on. but again, who's going to help you through that process? And is your doctor really going to order those tests, or do you have to do it on your own? And thankfully you can do them on your own now, but it's, and I, thankfully if it weren't for Beth Lambert, and a lot of the work that she's done and talking with me and others that had learned from her or in other groups, I didn't get any of it initially from any of the half a dozen doctors that I visited, except for one. Yeah. Thankfully, there was one MD neurologist who, originally from Asia, educated at UCLA, that was the one that really helped navigate a lot of this for us. But it's really, and do you trust rando people on Facebook and Reddit, or do you continually throw money at potential practitioners that are going to tell you you're crazy, your kid needs antipsychotics, they need to be checked in for observation? I had a doctor tell me that I needed to be on meds, and I was like, let's just take a pause here for a minute.
It's true. It's super overwhelming. That's the thing about it, is it's so overwhelming. It's so complicated. It's so multi-layered. And so, but moms know there's a problem, right? And the doctors just, they're so overwhelmed, and instead of them telling you, I don't know how to help you, they kind of can spin you out to whatever sticks for the doctor. And so that's what is also, difficult. And I think it is important to test. And I think one of the things that I learned now that we're on the other side of the journey is sometimes you really just have to get back to basics. And Beth Lambert and Documenting Hope talk about a lot about that as well. It's that we have so much going on, right? And all of these things like technology that is supposed to make our lives easier can really spin us out into all these different directions. And so we're definitely living in a world of convenience. And that makes our food is convenient, our lifestyles, that's where screens come in for kids, because there could be levels of convenience. I think that a lot of doctors are right, and that the mother is overwhelmed, right? Sometimes the mother has bacterial infections and lingering infections that we don't know about, like Epstein-Barr, or possibly Lyme or co-infections that morph into autoimmunes. So the whole family unit is struggling, right? And so so that's what makes it so challenging to heal your child. So after everything, what finally did help us get movement and click into recovery is really taking a pause and getting back to basics. And I encourage moms and caregivers to, tackle what you can tackle at the time. You're not going to get to everything, because I think the big question that comes up is what do I do first? We have mold, we have Lyme, we have mitochondrial deficits, we have autism. Where do I go first? And I think you go first with what resonates with you. What can you handle? So for instance, some people it's diet. I can only do diet. My kid will not do any supplements. My child is adverse to any type of regimen. Okay, well then just go the diet route. Clean up the diet, focus on, organic plants, plant-based food, or, lean protein, whatever you need to do, whatever sticks with you, whatever diet sticks with you, try that. But if you can't do diet and that's too overwhelming, but maybe adding in some supplements or antimicrobial tinctures or herbs, if that's something you can, then do that route. But I just feel there's no clear cookie cutter path, but you have to start somewhere. Don't just do nothing, right? And a lot of us get paralyzed there. So I just would encourage moms and caregivers to just start where you can. Mm-hmm. And, it's not a race. And it definitely would serve you well to also find out where you need support medically. Maybe you need to take some herbs. Maybe you need to work on calming your nervous system. I don't know. But I definitely think there's a dynamic that comes into play when we're so overwhelmed with our children, especially our kids who have special needs. And one of the best places to start too is just like working on yourself and calming it all down so that you can like see better, kind of, you'll get like in better tune to what your child needs. So that's kind of like the first place I always encourage mothers to go.
Yeah. And I hear a lot of people say, well, there's no way I can change their diet. And I'm like, well, I mean, who buys the food? I mean, if you can start earlier before teenagerhood when they can actually go find it themselves, it's so much easier because you've got control over a certain part of them at that point.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's really hard if only some of the family members do it. I mean, it's much, much easier if you can just say, as a family, this is what we're doing. It's hard.
Yeah.
And it's hard too if you've got different, parents on different sides of how we're going to take care of something. So,
yeah. You're right though. It's hard but it's like, you're right. You do buy the food and, a mother is a huge influencer in the household. So you kind of have to like use your influence but it requires you to walk the walk and talk the talk. And that is hard, especially when we live in a world of convenience and quick and fast and easy. And so but that ends up still being hard. So it's kind of like you have to pick your hard, and invest in the hard that will get you recovery and peace.
Yeah. So when people, I referenced Beth Lambert. I really, really love her books, her work. Any other suggestions you have for places that people can find like-minded people to ask questions that are safe spaces? I mean, there's a lot on Facebook, but I don't know that that's really very safe.
Yeah. Well, documenting hope for sure. And then, so ultimately, my kids did, oh my gosh, Pamela, we did everything under the sun. But the very last program my kids did was herbal supplements through Vital Plan, which Vital Plan supplements and herbs are created by Dr. Bill Rawls. Some people might know him. He wrote Unlocking Lyme and the Cellular Wellness Solution. And, so he created a community, an online private platform, and that is actually what I do now professionally. Is I manage the platform, and so and this is specific to complex chronic illness, not just Lyme, but all different things. We've got some people who have MS in our network. We have a lot of mothers, caregivers. What I do is I don't have all the answers, but I help navigate people to the answers that they need. So sometimes when they have questions on testing, I would refer them to the articles that Dr. Rawls has written, but then I also, give them articles on LymeDisease.org. Or documenting hope. So, so we do also have a protocol that adults and children can do. And then that's like a private community within the platform to give you education and coaching. We do group coaching calls. So we kind of do stuff like that, but it's a free community and you don't have to be on any of the Vital Plan supplements to be in the community. And that is a great place to start. But we also love documenting hope, LymeDisease.org, Project Lyme. Trying to think what else. We do a little bit with iLads. So we're just kind of partnered with a lot of non-for-profit organizations.
That's great. Thank you so much, Liza. Anything else that you want to share that I may have missed?
No, I mean, I just always am a big proponent of getting back to basics, encouraging your family together to nourish the body, move the body, defend your body with the appropriate antimicrobials, and calm down that nervous system. And then I definitely talk a lot about detox. I mean, these are things that don't cost a lot of money, but that require a lot of effort. And, if you as a mom or caregiver work on your own empowerment piece, you can get these factors moving for your family. They actually are great places to invest your time, and they don't cost a lot of money.
Yeah, that was one of the coaching calls I had this morning with someone, was helping them through what does detoxing really look like for them, and kind of understand. And they didn't really understand things like turmeric and boswellia and all of the extract and oregano. And omegas and the impact that they can have on inflammation and helping your body detox naturally. And so that, there's definitely a lot there for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And it is overwhelming, but like little by little, it's all about doing a little bit every day. And I think consistency matters so much. And I would so much rather see people do a little bit every single day than have these swells of like doing nothing and then jumping on for 2 weeks and then doing nothing. It's really the consistency that makes all the difference.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Liza.
You're welcome. Thanks so much, Pamela.